Yes, sir. Mod Tricker. Back up in this thing, man. Today, I'll be reacting to some creepy videos that I have you walking on eggshells.
The Freemasons are coming to create the Luciferian New World Order. Let's break this down. We're back for more Olympic symbolism. It's your favorite conspiracy jerk here to ruin your good time. This time we're talking about the symbolism of the closing ceremony. We saw the dystopian alternative reality with a fallen spirit named the Golden Voyager. The directors said this character is based on the Voyager mission golden records we sent to our alien overlords back in the 70s. Voyager was the mission that confirmed we had the hexagon on the pole of Saturn, just like we saw on the Olympics medals. Illuminate confirm all day. President Jimmy Carter told the aliens that we hope to join the galactic civilizations. Speak for yourself, brother. I'm staying right here in the good old US of A, where we won all the medals because we are literally the best at everything. If you listen to my full 30-minute podcast episode, you'll hear the breakdown of the occult basis for the Voyager golden records because it's rooted in ancient astronaut theory nonsense going back to Konstantin Tsiolkovsky, which influenced the ancient aliens movement with Eric von Daniken, Jack Parsons, and Werner von Braun. They played the Hymn to Apollo track, which once again confirms our first Olympics opening ceremony theory about the pagan gods Apollo and Osiris, because it's all about the worship of the intellect. This is the Luciferian world religion. At the beginning of the closing ceremony, the announcers told us the Golden Voyager is searching for the lost Olympic spirit. This is the lost word of Freemasonry, which is exactly what we talked about for the opening ceremony show, which you can catch on my free podcast feeds or even my YouTube channel now. But no ritual would be complete without the world's second greatest actor, Tommy Salami, jumping off the roof to get the flag and bring it back to LA to hand it off to Anthony Kiedis and Snoop Dogg.
Good thing the golden record is already deep in space and we didn't have a chance to add this year's Olympic ceremonies to it, because our application to the Galactic Federation would have been instantly revoked.
So yeah, guys, I think it's pretty obvious now that they are trying to open a portal at CERN. Is it to hell? I don't know, but definitely somewhere. I mean, Nike seems to think so. Let's watch Nike's new commercial about CERN. Yeah. So this commercial not so subtly starts off in Geneva, Switzerland, the location of CERN. And we have two pretend scientists, much like the actual pretend scientists over at CERN, argue about who's a better soccer player or football player as the world calls it. And yeah, hijinks ensue as they open up portals to the past in the multiverse of football or something. Yeah, just watch this. Yeah, we get cloned players. We get a cartoon player who turns into a demon. That's interesting. And yeah, so what is going on? This is science, right?
Nike might want to consider letting go whoever approved this commercial, because I don't think anybody is buying a pair of Nike CERN 11s.
Apple is spying on us, and I have proof. Okay, so get out of your app that you're going to go in and you turn off the TV. Okay, the TV's off. So this thing right here, this remote, is still recording. Look, ready? Yap, 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 yap. Super girlfriend. Okay, now watch. I'm gonna turn on the TV. TV was off, I just turned it on. So, would it have been hearing what I was saying? Just watch. I click search. Okay, ready? Watch. Oh. Yep. Supergirl. Super girlfriend. I'm gonna turn off the TV. So what happened? We are being spied on. If you have this in your house, you have a parasite in your house. Who knows who Apple's selling our late night yap sessions to?
At this point, cable TV seems like a much better option than having one of these streaming devices in your house. This is like having the feds in your living room.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at that long one. He just disintegrates. They just disintegrate. Look, there's another long one right there. He disintegrated. Oh, look at this long one. What is that? They're everywhere. Hold on. Watch this. Look at that guy. You see that guy? What are these?
I'm not sure if this is a worm that just has the ability to disintegrate, but it's enough to keep me out the ocean indefinitely.
Japanese authorities are urging people in a wide area of the country to take precautions against a possible megaquake. But why? And what does this actually mean? A few days ago, a 7.1 earthquake hit Japan's southern coast, and while it didn't cause any major damage, it did hit the edge of a seismically active area called the Nankai Trough. This stretches all the way from central Japan to the boundary of Kyushu Island in the south. For decades, people in Japan have been warned about the big one happening at some point in the Nankai Trough. Big earthquakes in this area tend to strike every 100 to 150 years. Last one was in 1946. So how big is the big one? Well, according to the Meteorological Agency, it's a magnitude 8 to 9, with a subsequent huge tsunami. For context, the one which struck the Northeast in 2011 was a magnitude 9. It triggered a massive tsunami, a nuclear disaster, and nearly 20,000 people. Now, the Nankai Trough is a heavily populated area, so a mega earthquake there is estimated to be much more. While officials have said there is a higher chance than usual of a mega earthquake striking, they weren't saying it would happen in a certain period and have not asked people to evacuate. Instead, residents of Japan's Pacific coast have been asked to be vigilant and to check evacuation routes. Remember, this is Japan, the land of quakes. It sits on the Ring of Fire and experiences about 1,500 tremors a year. What's different about this one is that this is the first time such an advisory was issued.
If I lived in Japan and the government issued a Megaquake warning, I wouldn't just be staying vigilant and checking the evacuation routes. I would already be on the evacuation route.
It's interesting. The study that says we shouldn't eat animal-based diets and have meat funded by people who sell fake meat.
Is genetically modified pea protein smothered in glyphosate and other neurotoxins that are banned in every other country in the world. And also, for good measure, mixed with inflammatory canola oil. This is the playbook. You have the NIH saying that Cheerios are healthier than organic quinoa. You shamefully have the NIH jointly with food companies saying that a diet 91% in ultra-processed food was actually healthy and nutritious. And you recently had a group of conflicted Harvard doctors bashing a leading scientific journal for questioning ultra-processed food. Rachel, this is all an effort that I saw firsthand by the food industry to convince us that ultra-processed food, which is much more profitable than natural food, is healthy. And it's a bizarre world because the opposite is true. We're getting sick and the environment's being destroyed because of our farming processes that give us ultra-processed food.
Regardless of any study, I made up my mind a long time ago to stick with regular meat once I learned that Bill Gates was one of the biggest proponents for synthetic and plant-based meat alternatives.
I don't know if y'all know this or not, but FEMA bases their scale off of Waffle House. If there is a hurricane or what have you, say Miami's store, the one closest to Miami, is open, but Fort Lauderdale closes. Well then, FEMA knows it's bad in Fort Lauderdale, but it's not so bad close to Miami. So they run off the scale of Waffle House. That shouldn't be that way. If there's a severe storm, hurricane, tornadoes, we need to be at home with our families and make sure we're taking care of them and make sure they're protected. We don't need to be trying to serve waffles and eggs to people. Yeah. Y'all want that? Come down from corporate and do it. Let us assure our families.
Please tell me there's a more scientific method to determine this besides the Waffle House Index. If not, then Godspeed.
Have you ever heard of the GATE program?
No.
Program that was started way long ago back in the 80s. It was this program that was put into schools, and schools would pick out certain kids. It seemed kind of random, and they would just do certain testing and reading and stuff like that. It's just kind of a cool system, right? The problem with this program is that they're funded and created by the CIA. They would bring these kids into a windowless room, sit these kids down, and they would test them, being blindfolded in these tests as well, trying to move things. They would take field trips with the GATE program
No.
outside of the school. In one instance, they took kids into a museum, into a room where there was a mummy.
What?
And they had them stay overnight with no parental supervision.
What?
All this strange things, and it just doesn't make sense. And for the CIA to be involved, you know there has to be something malicious.
If I was one of those kids and I knew I had a special ability, I would do everything in my power to hide it, because I'm not trying to spend a night with King Tut.
Exacerbate environmental injustice in general.
somebody must have said her MK Ultra trigger word. That was the Al Roker glitch.
We need to recognize that the technologies being called AI now are reliant on mass surveillance. They require huge amounts of data to train and tune these AI models like GPT. And then they require more data to input into those models, whether it be personal data that the models use to make a decision or prediction about us, or whether it be the prompts that we enter into systems like ChatGPT. So I think we need to be very cautious with the AI narrative, where we are being led to confuse mass surveillance with intelligence, and by doing so, initiate these corporate technologies into the core of our social and governmental institutions.
If at all they're training their AI for my videos, then they need to send me a check for my GPT-4.
I have a question. What the hell is this? What the is this? Right? It's got like little wings or whatever. I saw it. I thought it was like a flower petal, but clearly it's not. I don't think praying mantis. So if anyone's got a clue, I'm very invested in finding out what that is. Get off me.
If anybody knows what type of insect this is, please let us know, because it looks like she just found Tinkerbell.
Do you care to share any predictions? The coming lottery numbers are, we've done so many jokes over the many seasons that we've been on the air that eventually we're going to get something right. We always predict, what is the most, predict. We always write jokes on the things that are supposed to be the most absurd possibility, and it turns out that that's the way the world is these days. So everything seems to come true. But no, it's not intentional, and what can I say? Don't stop writing mean stuff about me on Twitter, okay?
Him saying that they always predict was a Freudian slip. Now I believe the conspiracy even more.
We always predict.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is a cuttlefish, even though nothing about it says cuddle.
You say that the latest human quest is immortality and divinity. We're all trying to be superhumans. Is that actually happening?
Yes, in places like Silicon Valley, equality is out, but immortality is in. Everybody's talking about immortality. Google has just established 2 or 3 years ago a sub-company called Calico, whose stated aim is to solve the problem of we've solved search, now we'll solve. And they are not the only ones. And basically they are saying is not some metaphysical phenomenon. We don't have to wait for the second coming of Christ in order to solve it. A couple of geeks in a laboratory can do it.
Are they doing it?
Yeah, they are investing billions in that. Not only them, but all over the world. Basically, there are 3 ways. You can use biological engineering to change the human body, to speed up natural selection. You can use cyborg engineering, which is combining organic with inorganic parts. And you can create completely inorganic life forms. It will be not only the greatest revolution in history, it will be the greatest revolution in biology ever.
Will we still be human?
Not in the sense that we understand humanity today.
With the current state of the world right now, immortality sounds like a punishment. I'll pass.
Did you know that the Knights Templars had one of the largest fleets in the world? Did you know that one of their symbols is the skull and bones? Did you know that on every grave of the Knights Templars in Europe is the skull and bones? Did you know that when the Templars were destroyed by the Pope and the King of France, the entire fleet escaped and became the pirates? Didn't you ever wonder why the pirates were called the Brotherhood? Didn't you ever wonder why they could all sail into the same port and never fight against each other? Didn't you ever wonder where the Templars' fleet went? Didn't you ever wonder where the skull and crossbones came from? Didn't you ever wonder why the Russell Trust at Yale University is called the Skull and Bones? George Bush is a member. He's a Knights Templar. And many other great men who have occupied high positions of this government. Their goal is revenge for the persecution of men of intellect and science throughout the Middle and Dark Ages by the church, by the kings and queens, by the governments, and by the ignorant mob. That's why they want to destroy all existing governments, destroy all existing religions, and put the shackles on the mob.
I can actually see this one because just like the Knights Templar, we know pirates love to steal treasure or oil in the case of G.W. Bush, so it makes sense.
What is that? What is that? It just came out of that bug that I just... what is that?
Yeah, I would say it's a parasite looking for a new host. I would be spraying raid instead of filming.
Was there an Egyptian civilization in the United States? This is Monk's Mound, found in Collinsville, Illinois. Its base is about the size of the Great Pyramid of Giza, and it is many times larger than the Pyramid of the Sun in Mexico. If we look at a map of the Mississippi River, we can see many cities named after mounds and many cities named after Egyptian cities like Cairo in Illinois and Memphis in Tennessee. There are mounds absolutely everywhere along the Mississippi River, going all the way down to Mexico. Back in the 1800s, there was also rumors of an Egyptian find in the Grand Canyon. There was official newspaper articles that said they found gold artifacts and mummies. The mound builders of the Mississippi also...
And just to clear the air on the Isis temple, or the Isis pyramid, found in the Grand Canyon, along with the Buddha and Shiva temple, or pyramid, here are a couple images of things found underneath these ancient pyramids. These images are available online, and they're called the Kincaid's Cave, named after the man that discovered them. I know I'm celebrating Thanksgiving this year a little bit differently. This looks a lot like Egypt. Here in America, you might say? Yes, here in America, ancient Egyptian tombs. Thousands of them. But that's not all. A great Buddhist statue is also discovered.
If this is true, then they really pulled off one of the biggest psyops ever. It would be hard for me to believe anything we ever learned in history class.
I thought this was the only owl in Bohemian Grove, but I was wrong. Before I show you the second owl, you need to understand that everything we heard about Bohemian Grove was a lie.
There was 32 camps.
The Hillbillies, they're the biggest one, right?
But the band is the biggest.
Band.
Yeah.
When I found the secret documents about Bohemian Grove that are only for the Grove members, the biggest camp is Aviary Camp. It has 116 members, but the band camp has only 68 members, and there are 120 camps according. Now check this. The new production facility is partially built into the hillside to reduce the space those functions took on the stage floor. If we look at the map, the hillside is here, so definitely the stage of the owl is somewhere in this area. However, our hero dancer one on the owl in this area, and this new owl looks small compared to the old one. They were working on the Grove project since 2017, and the project was completed in July 2021, and they are expecting that would make this stage be effective for at least another 50 years.
I had no idea that Bohemian Grove was pretty much Illuminati summer camp, but instead of bug juice, they sip gold juice.
Once you give your saliva to 23andMe and these others, if you read the fine print, you gave away your DNA for the purposes of, creating
scientific research,
big pharma.
Is the CIA and other intelligence organizations working directly with these companies to limit what information they put back out to the populace?
I don't know. I don't know that. That's why I mentioned Cosmos ID, because there's a company involved in the human genome, involved in bioinformatics, involved in DNA, and then you look at the company, and then you look at who are the consultants to that company. It's a who's who of IC officers. And the company was started by somebody from the National Science Foundation. And so if you go back to FOIA and you go back to National Science Foundation and you research who these people are, all of a sudden you go, oh my gosh, these guys are really well connected. In fact, one of the officers was CEO of EG&G. EG&G was the parking lot where Eric W. Davis allegedly had his conversation with Admiral Wilson.
He went to the EG&G facility in North Las Vegas. And the guy who was the CEO of that company, who is the operations maintenance contractor at Area 51, is part of the scientific consultation team for Cosmos ID.
If you sent your DNA off to 23andMe, you better be on your best behavior. That's like sending it to the Pentagon's P.O. box. But that was the video, guys. Don't forget to sub up, hit that notification bell, and I'll catch you in the next one.